I really didn't want to do this video because I am a Chicago Bulls fan, and watching Derrick Rose play this season when he's not a Chicago Bull was already hurting me enough. But watching him play pretty solid was kind of, healing some of that pain because he was averaging almost 19 points a game, and he was doing it on 47% shooting from the field, doing it extremely efficiently, even though he can't shoot the three ball that well. But when the news hit that Derrick Rose tore his meniscus in his left knee and he'd be out for the remainder of the season, it kind of made me question, is this the end of Derrick Rose's career? Should he retire? I mean, we've seen stories such as Brandon Roy or Tracy McGrady or Grant Hill where the player just goes through so many injuries. And then it kind of gets to the point where you got to sit back and ask, man, either you take a lesser role or you retire. You could take a lesser role like Grant Hill did, or you could retire like Brandon Roy did at a young age below the age of 30. And I think it's gotten to the point where we got to ask ourselves, is Derrick Rose, is his NBA career coming to an end? We'll see.
You don't want zero problems, big fella.
Yup. If one more label try to stop me, it's gonna be some dreadhead niggas in your lobby. You don't want no problem with me. You don't want no problem with me. Just another day at the pick up on the mail.
Now, I'm sure when NBA fans heard that Derrick Rose tore his meniscus in his left knee and that he'd be out for the rest of the season, I'm sure everyone around the NBA community thought of three things. One, this is regular news. Two, this just shows how bad the Knicks season this year has been. I mean, it's been a complete failure, and Phil Jackson is the reason to blame. And three, is this the end of Derrick Rose? Now, I'm going to be talking about one of those three things that you probably thought, and that is if this is the end of Derrick Rose's career. Now, this year, watching Derrick Rose play, a lot of people were saying that he was just now adjusting. He was getting into his, older ways. He was showing signs of his MVP, old flashes. And, he was doing dunks, nice passes, being efficient from the field, shooting 47%. That's pretty good. But I mean, the guy just got hurt. And honestly, I think Derrick Rose has two options here. One, not be a starter no more because he cannot handle that type of role anymore in the offense. Or two, he needs to retire. Now, at first, I thought he was one of the options that the Spurs could use to put at the point guard, position. Either him or maybe Steph Curry, maybe Kyle Lowry, maybe they could get D'Angelo, maybe they could get Eric Bledsoe. Derrick Rose was among that list because Derrick Rose was going to be or should I say, is going to be a free agent after this season. But after this injury, I don't think any team wants to have him as a starting point guard. I mean, it's kind of gotten to the point that Derrick Rose, maybe he should just become a backup. That's why when the Cleveland Cavaliers were looking for a backup point guard, if it wasn't for Derrick Rose's, contract, how big it is, I mean, they probably would have picked him up because he is the perfect person that you could have as a backup. I mean, he's putting up okay numbers now. He's averaging below 5 assists. I mean, he's not really a point guard at this point in time. He's kind of just a shooting guard who goes out there and plays the point guard role, but he can't shoot the three ball. So, I mean, it's kind of gotten to the point that you can't stay healthy. You can't, handle a full NBA season as a starter. So, I mean, what else, can you do? I mean, other than come off the bench, what do we want Derrick Rose to do in his career? He cannot start no more. He's proven that he cannot handle the stress of an NBA season. So in my opinion, is it time for him to call it quits? And I know a lot of people are gonna, they always look at Derrick Rose and they think he's such a, nonchalant person, how he didn't show up to the New York Knicks game that day. I remember that story. Or, how he just, shows a nonchalant attitude sometimes on the court. But I can tell you this right now, being a Chicago Bulls fan, he has huge determination. This guy works hard. Derrick Rose, whether you like him or not, whether you think he's a rapist or not, which is a different subject for a different matter, Derrick Rose works hard. He is a person who is extremely determined to get better at his craft, and he wants to be the best. Yes, Derrick Rose still has that mentality. Let's not forget at the beginning of the season this year, Derrick Rose thought that the New York Knicks, despite how dumb this was, he thought that the New York Knicks were a super team. He thought him, Carmelo, and Kristaps Porzingis, they were like some big three. They could reform, the Miami Heat's big three. Phil Jackson is the executive, work the triangle between them three, like Gasol, Artest, and Kobe did. That's what he thought. He originally thought that. Whether, he's blasphemous saying it, whether he believed it or not, he has that kind of mindset. Derrick Rose believes that he can be the best. I mean, he thinks that. He knows that. So for him to take a lesser role, I don't think he wants that. I don't think he really is going to want to be a backup point guard, someone to come off the bench. Even though I think he'd be extremely good at it, I think he could honestly win a Six Man of the Year award if he does something like that. But, that's up to Derrick Rose. So, like I said, if he does not want to take a backup role, does any team out there want him? I mean, besides the Knicks re-signing him, I don't think any other team would want to pick him up. Maybe the Sacramento Kings, that's another horrible organization. They'll do anything for anyone. I mean, let's think about this here. Is it over? I think it's over because if no one wants to pick you up and you're not healthy, why would you want to continue your career? I mean, let's be honest here. The old Rose is gone. The MVP that won in 2011, he's gone. He's never coming back. So what really are you looking at when you want a starting point guard and you pick up Derrick Rose? I mean, he cannot shoot the three ball. He's never learned how to shoot the three. Though he's improved sometimes, game to game, he can be really good. But when you look at his 3-point percentage this year, it's not even at 30%. He cannot shoot the three ball. And honestly, I thought that was his only hope at becoming an all-star. I mean, the guy's not an all-star. He's not a star anymore. He's an average point guard at best. And honestly, I don't think he's going to come back and be better next year. He's going to get old. I mean, he's 28 years old. Next year, he'll be 30. This man next year will be 30 years old with torn down knees. He's had a torn ACL. He's had 2 meniscus injuries, sored hamstrings. The guy's had back injuries. The guy's had eye injuries. The guy cannot be healthy. So why would you want Derrick Rose as your starting point guard? I mean, the best option for him is to just retire at this point if he wants to be a starter. Oh, y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about this topic. Do you think Derrick Rose should just accept a lesser role and be a backup point guard on a championship contending team? Or do you think Derrick Rose, should just call it quits? Or if you think he should be a starter and, he can get back to MVP form or, stay healthy, y'all let me know that as well. No comments are dumb. I interact with everyone. So this is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Add me on Snapchat. The links are down below in the description box. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video. Peace.